against his confirmation. We're talking about gun confiscations in Oregon, gun-free zones. Guys, welcome in. This is the Second Amendment Daily Show. And we're going to kick this off. You guys have got Aaron in Iowa. We have Patrick in Georgia. How you doing, Patrick? And
how are you?
In Ohio. Fantastic. Like I said, I this is important. This is important stuff. Otherwise, I'd be in Rochester. I've never got to see President Trump. I've never been to one of his rallies.
I got to tell you, if he was 45 minutes away from me, that's where I would be right now. In fact, you could have used your phone and just
come in live.
In fact, here's the deal, folks. If he's in Ohio anytime soon, I will be there. I'll try to be there with my phone. So that's my promise to you, everybody who's watching from Ohio tonight.
Who all out there has been to a Trump rally before? I have never been.
I've seen him right here in Des Moines, Iowa.
You've been there, Aaron?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what's the whole dynamic? I mean, are you waiting in line for like an hour to get in, or 5 hours, or what did you do to get
you gotta get there. You gotta get there on time. When I'm trying to post this to my page right now. Sorry. When we were there, it was my wife and I, and it was in between the election and his swearing in. So it was a very unique time. He was on a victory tour of the ages. It was a lot of fun, but it was prior to all the chaos that we've seen in the last 2 years since that time, just about. So
yeah. So in your opinion, Garth Brooks or Donald Trump rally? What's better? Garth Brooks concert or Donald Trump rally?
Well, if it's a Friday night, then I'm gonna go see Garth. But if it's a weekday, then I'm gonna go see President Trump. So that's how I'm gonna do that. So
I've only been to Garth, so I guess we're gonna go with Garth. But no, I mean, we were watching the line. So they opened it up, the rally, to get in at 3:30. The rally started at 6:30. It was like 8 o'clock this morning, 7 o'clock this morning, 8 o'clock. There were thousands and thousands of people already piled up outside the building. I mean, everybody was posting pictures and doing Facebook Live stuff. Thousands of people there. So if you wanted to be in the building, I mean, I got messages from a whole bunch of my friends going, "Yeah, we got here at like noon, and there's no way we're getting in. No way. There's so many people there."
Noon?
Noon, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, how many of y'all out there watch? I know a bunch of y'all are just hopping on right now, guys. If you're from Georgia and you're watching, let us know where you're watching from. I see the great Tony Delaney is on from Brunswick. We've got Stuart Griffin from Macon, Georgia, the great Stuart Griffin, guys. But I heard 3 Trump rallies in Georgia before November 6th. You're talking 32 days. Plus, next Tuesday, Donald Trump Jr. is in Athens. So we've got Trump Jr. and Trump 4 times, I guess, there. Who would like to see the Second Amendment Daily Show live from a Trump rally? Would that be cool or what?
I do.
Do you think that would be cool?
And I missed my chance.
Yeah.
Loser.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, what he's doing though. I mean, I got a phone call today here at Iowa Gun Owners from is it Laura Trump, inviting me personally. It was a personal call, I'm sure, just to me.
Wow.
To go and meet. I'm teasing. Of course, it was a robocall. To go hear Trump in Iowa. He's coming to let's say October 9, I think it is, to Council Bluffs over to Western Iowa. And what Iowa politicos are hoping will happen from President Trump's trip here, I know, is to save their ass here in Iowa, because we have a whole bunch. We have, can I say that on this podcast?
Oh yeah. It's biblical. It's biblical. It's biblical.
Because we have some biblical level asses in the Iowa political spectrum right now who are killing off gun bills. And right now, Kim Reynolds, our young governor, year and a half on the job, she's
Kim.
It depends on which poll you ask. She's upside down. Some say Emerson University says she's upside down 5. The Iowa poll says 2. So if I'm Kim Reynolds, or if I'm Scott Walker, or if I am, House Republicans in Minnesota, or Brian Kemp in Georgia, I'm on bended knee praying to God, and then secondarily praying that Trump will come into my state and save me, because frankly, these guys haven't earned it. They haven't earned anything in a lot of these states, and Trump
Minnesota
is
the worst.
Any street cred.
Well, that's why. So this is the second rally that Trump has been in. There was one in Duluth, I don't know, like a couple months ago. Our vice president, Mike Pence, has been here twice. And that's exactly what's happening here is Minnesota Republicans have just totally destroyed themselves. They've just killed themselves. I mean, they killed all the pro-gun bills. They were moving gun control. They passed taxpayer-funded abortions. They reinstated Obamacare. They blew our budget up by 10.5%, nearly $5 billion in new taxes.
That's crazy.
Under Republican leadership. And so they are just in the barrel, just at the bottom of the barrel. So Donald Trump, if anything positive happens in Minnesota for Republicans, it'll only be because of our president.
Well, that's the way I look at it. If you remember during the Obama years, Obama won in 8 and 12. Okay, so he pulls out all the riffraff and stuff, comes out and votes for him who don't normally vote. But in the midterms, he kind of like stayed away. Maybe he did in 2010, but Republicans got these huge wins in 2010 and just really stuck it to Obama. And Obama was nuclear. If Obama came into Georgia in 2010 or 14, he was nuclear. And so now what you're talking about, Trump, I think Trump is just saying, yeah, screw it. This is me or it's nobody. And we know that Trump can turn people out. The question is, does he turn the other side out even more, which I think they're already turned out. And I appreciate the ballsiness of President Trump of saying, screw it. It's either me or it's nothing. And he says it in his rallies. If you watch him, it's you're voting for me, period. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, you're right. I mean, so many Republicans, look, I'm a conservative. I think most of us here, well, all of us are conservatives. We probably vote to the right most of the time personally, but so many conservatives in 2016, Republicans had their butts saved by Donald Trump. He just might do it again. I mean, he just might do it again. And I think that's why you're going to see him. If you remember during the 16 presidential, I mean, what was he doing? This guy was a maniac. Guy's like 70 years old, and he was hitting like 5 rallies a day. I think you're going to see that again, especially in the last 2 weeks. I mean, 70
if he's going to be in Georgia, what'd you say, 3 times between now and...
Exactly. So there's a lot of dangerous, on the edge seats that normally wouldn't be that way. And Georgia's a changing place, but he's coming in and, he commands an audience in the papers and the media, on social media, and it's live or die. It's live or die, and I think that's what we're all going to see. Ohio, somebody said on here earlier, Lebanon, Ohio.
Yeah, I was going to say we've got some breaking news. My buddy Kent Keller says he's going to be in Lebanon, which is literally maybe 30 minutes away from my house.
In Tennessee, that's Lebanon. I don't know. What is it in Ohio? How do you pronounce it?
I don't even know. I don't know. Lebanon.
Well, so in the Middle East, it's Lebanon, right? But in Tennessee, it's Lebanon.
Lebanon?
We use all the letters in the alphabet in the Midwest in Iowa, where I'm at.
Yeah.
It would be Lebanon and Iowa as well.
Yeah. Well, there's Hardy Strong Bear Taylor from Paulding County, Dallas, Georgia. Hardy, are you wearing your T-shirt tonight, buddy? Wherever you're watching from across the country, guys, represented on this video, Ohio, Georgia, Iowa, Minnesota. I know we have North Carolina, Missouri, Wisconsin, Wyoming.
That's right.
And all across the country, guys. And again, we're still in beta test mode on this thing. This thing's going to blow up one day and you want to be here. So you absolutely
Let's talk about Kavanaugh. Everybody's talking about Kavanaugh.
Chaos.
Crazy.
So
we should have gone to DC. We should have been in the Hart Building today. We should have been in the Hart Building. And we should have been running tracker cams on these people.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh!
Don't tempt me. I'm seconds away from getting in the car and driving out there.
It's crazy. It's
crazy. Sharon Haney says, "I stand strong with Kavanaugh."
Yeah. If you support Kavanaugh, comment down in the comments section. If you're for Kavanaugh, or rather, if you think he's going to get confirmed, comment down in the comments section.
What are the betting sites saying?
I'm watching them all day long. Kavanaugh's at 82%, 83% on election betting odds. You've got him at 80%. Yeah, it's different on Predict It, but
what was he a week ago?
It just goes up and down based off the news. When Flake did all his trash.
We should have gone to the limit. Well, half an hour into Blasey Ford's hearing, we should have all of us personally gone to the limit and put every penny we had on this. on Kavanaugh, of course, because this was bullshit from the beginning. Everybody knew it. And we all knew the FBI wasn't going to find a darn thing. If anything, they're probably about ready to file indictments against Blasey Ford for being a liar.
Yes. Lock her up.
And if we had done that, we could have personally had enough cash now to fly out to D.C. for the final vote.
Yeah, dumb of us.
So we screwed up.
I had a buddy that I saw message me this a little while ago. He's like, after the cloture vote, which is what'd you say, Patrick? Is tomorrow?
Breaking news. Yeah, 10:30 tomorrow. Cocaine Mitch McConnell, I believe, has scheduled it for 10:30 tomorrow. That's cloture. Somebody explain cloture if you want.
Go for it, Patrick. You're the one who spent the time on the Hill.
Okay. Well, cloture is, according to the rules, from what I understand, and again, I'm no parliamentarian, but there will, if he gets enough votes, 51 for cloture, that means they will then move on to 30 hours of debate. And that's after
the delay, right? There's some mandatory delay time.
Exactly.
And then it goes to debate for the actual vote.
So exactly. So it's not 30 of our hours, it's 30 Senate hours. And what you were going to see, and we probably talked about this last week. Of course, we had a week delay. On Friday was when the flake thing went down, but 30 hours of debate, you were going to see insane, nutty madness on the floor of the U.S. Senate. It's going to be insane. And who knows what's going to, I happen to believe he's going to get confirmed. And I think all of us here do, but I mean, you just never know. You just absolutely never know.
They'll be rioting in the streets. There'll be activists just going apoplectic in the halls.
Well, I think just in case people haven't had a chance to watch the feeds today, I mean, what was there, 1,000 more? I mean, 5,000, 10,000? I mean, 1,000 people inside the building, inside the Hart building.
Yeah.
It looked like, I mean, it was out of control. It was just crazy tonight.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And there was marching in the streets. Look, in the Hart building is one of the Senate buildings. I saw Orrin Hatch from Utah just basically told this one chick yelling at him to screw off. He's a senator. We don't even like these senators. I mean, they're Republicans, but we don't even like these guys. But they're making us like them, at least in this period of time.
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey.
But, well, it's like the guy said it best. And in case people don't realize it, there's an absolute war on here. There's a war on. The left is just out of their mind. And I think Lindsey Graham said it best. He just goes, boy, you all want power. God, I hope you never get it. Well, it's like, this is what this is all about. All these paid protesters. It's just insanity to gain control, to gain back power.
Anyway, back to my point. This is my buddy here. He says, after the cloture vote, which is tomorrow, some think withholding Kavanaugh's final vote is a sound strategy if they fall short of 51 votes. He says, I disagree. With elections just 1 month away, hold the vote, put GOP traitors on record and red state Dems on blast. Make this the primary midterm issue. If Judge K fails to get 51, renominate him after picking up several Senate seats and triple down on this. And then, this is my favorite part, bring federal charges against anyone who is found to have committed perjury during the hearings. Oh yeah, I love that.
That would be cool. That is one strategy. Kavanaugh goes down, something happens, and then he puts up this Amy Barrett in the last 2.5 or 3 weeks here. He's just kill this woman too. I guess that's one strategy to get the base. But speaking of which, you hit on the point, Chris. Those of y'all out there watching, let us know in the comments section. Have you heard? I'm at church. I'm talking to people at church, and people are like interested who aren't normally interested.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this has really lit a fire under the right, and kind of even the Never Trump people are kind of like, what the heck is going on?
Well, I'm getting an account opened up for Iowa gun owners today, a special account for a special project over in Western Iowa, maybe in Harrison County sometime down the road. And I was talking to the business support manager with U.S. Bank today. I've never met her in my life. She just called me from the head office in Des Moines. And she said, so based on the name of your organization, Iowa Gun Owners, I could presume you're a pro-gun organization? And I was like, yep. And she's like, so what's your thoughts on Kavanaugh? And I was kind of taken aback by this. I mean, I don't talk work at the bank, you know, and this is over the phone, but she and her husband got politically active in 2016 because of Trump, never voted in her life. I asked her, can I ask your age? And she's like, yeah, I'm 35. So she's old enough. I said, well, you're out of college. You're making some real cash and you're getting taxed to death.
Yeah, she got slapped with reality.
And now you're past the college age and you're pissed, you know? And then she's like, well, that's what it was for me. She's like, and we voted for Trump and that was our first time we ever voted. And she's like, I'm a woman. She's like, and that woman is a liar on the Capitol Hill. Yes. Like, I can't talk about it at work, she said, but she said, between you and me, she's like, this is a complete takedown attempt. And I completely support Kavanaugh. She's not political. I mean, she's becoming political now. And that's the whole point here. I mean, the real question you got to ask is if you're Charlie Schumer, I mean, are you sitting here?
What the hell did you just do?
Are you slamming your head against the wall yet or not? Because, you know, I think that, you know, Stacey, what's her name? Blasey Ford might save the Scott Walkers in America. She might save the Kim Reynolds and the Brian Kemps, because this issue has fired up the right in a way that nothing has in months. This has people on fire. They're on fire.
And I saw a poll today. Now, you know, usually these fake news polls, whatever, there may be some accuracy to them. I don't know. But a Marist poll said generic ballot among suburban women, September 9th, Democrats plus 35. Not good, right? September 24th, plus 22. October 1st, plus 14. Generic ballot among white women, Democrats plus 14. July, September 30th, Democrats plus 1. So
this is what you call the Trump submarine doing an emergency blow, and it's like popping up at the last minute, and it's firing all of its warheads.
Yeah. I mean, I
think if I was Tom Stiers or Bloomberg, I mean, I'd be on my plane going to DC and I would be punching Schumer in the face.
Yes.
You know,
not you, but Steyer.
What's that?
Not you, but Steyer, just to be clear.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I'm not advocating violence, but, hey, Chris, I'm seeing a sign that we have 8 minutes remaining left.
Yeah, I just saw that myself. Or 9 minutes. I didn't know we were under a time constraint with this thing. It says we have 9 minutes and 32 seconds.
Yeah, weird. But yeah, I mean, if I was those mega donors to the Democratic Party right now, I'd be fear. I guess that's the question. I mean, maybe they just don't care. Maybe they figure, you know what, this is a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court. You know, candidate for Kavanaugh is a big jump to the right. And maybe they don't care. Maybe they figure that midterms come and midterms go, but Supreme Court nominations are forever. So maybe that's what they're doing here. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is nuclear explosion, spontaneous combustion on the left. I was down at Socialist Stacey Abrams' office today in Georgia, man, and she was out in San Francisco. People were absolutely fired up through the roof on our Facebook Live at Georgia Gun Owners. But all people wanted to talk about was Kavanaugh, and they were like, Patrick, are you seeing the videos of these insane people up in DC going nuts, you know? And that's what they're talking about. You know, that's what they're talking about. So do we want to hit some other topics, guys, or you know, if we're under a little time constraint here, what do we want to do?
Well, I just want to throw out real quick, guys, right here in the comments section is a link to our YouTube channel, the Second Amendment Daily Show. Click on that real quick and just press subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. We're live right now on YouTube. It's just another way for us to get this message out there. And you know, with Facebook cracking down on all of our platforms all the time, this would be a fantastic place for you guys to check this out in the future. So just click on that and press subscribe.
Ben, I'm having a hard time getting the cut and paste on the copy you sent. Can you drop that YouTube link in some of my pages? Is that something you can possibly do? Because in case all the trolls who are going to watch this now or later haven't realized, yeah, we do gun politics in a bunch of states, and yeah, we like doing it. So.
And we're still in beta test mode, guys. This is our 5th or 6th episode, and we're still building a little audience. But I think someday you're going to come on here, and there's going to be hundreds or even thousands of people on here. So
what's Manchin going to do on this? I mean, this guy,
yeah,
he's in the fight of his life, and I don't know. I mean, Goodness gracious, in Missouri, Claire McCaskill. She's in the fight of her life too, but she's a absolute no and heck no. I wonder how does Manchin? I mean, yeah, they're both in the fight of their lives. She's a hardcore no. I wonder about Joe Manchin. He's in a tough spot.
Yeah, I saw a poll. You know, Joe Manchin's this big union guy from West Virginia, twice elected governor of that state, at least once for senator. I don't know if this is a second term or not, but everything I'm seeing is that this guy, the polls are like 40%. You know, they're like 62 to 38 in favor of Manchin in his state. So if he kills him or he votes against, it's going to be hell. Now, if Murkowski and Collins and Sass and Flake bail, then maybe Manchin can too. But you know, these red state senators are definitely under a big pressure cooker for sure.
I almost hope that Sass is a no vote. I mean, I want to see Kavanaugh confirmed, but that guy, I mean, I'm only an hour and a half away from Nebraska. Yeah. And that guy is about the most overrated Politico.
Oh my gosh.
500 miles of where I'm sitting right now. And maybe if he votes against Kavanaugh, maybe that'd be enough to wake up these idiots. I mean, let's not idiots, but yeah, they're idiots. I mean, does somebody have the tweet from Jerry Falwell Jr. from the other day? It was a great.
I can look it up.
That was a great tweet, but he's talking to all these Christian voters out there, and of course, Iowa, Nebraska, some of these states are very evangelical states, and he's just basically mocking them, saying that we're way past the point in trying to elect good Christians. We have to elect, of course, you can read it to us verbatim, Patrick, but we have to elect fighters. And these people are not fighters. They're not fighters. I mean, Ben Sass, I mean, come on. Yeah. We don't need a constitutional law lesson like he gave in the hearing, which he got a lot of respect for. We need a fighter to get in there and kick some butt. And, Ben Sass and company. I mean, and that's why we all like Lindsey Graham right now. I mean, the guy sucks on most policy issues that I care about, but he's the only guy who would go 10 rounds with Cory Booker. And for that, we love the guy.
Yeah, so here's Falwell. Here's one of them. He said, this is just one of them. He said, the video of Jeff Flake. Who saw the video of Flake, guys? The total loser. The woman's like, look at me. I mean, and he's just like cowering in the corner.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
So Falwell says the video of Flake in the elevator cowering and nearly crying as liberals screamed at him and then acquiescing to the demands for the FBI investigation is the best illustration I've seen is what is wrong with Republican parties. And Aaron's right. We need people with stiff spines.
Go back and find that tweet.
I'm finding it. It's further down.
Yeah, you're
okay.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. You guys want me to try to upgrade? I mean, I'm gonna have to maybe get on the screen here a little bit. You want me to try to upgrade this before?
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Just don't cut us off. But follow.
For those of you who are watching right now, we have a problem here where the system is telling us we have to get off in 4 minutes and 13 seconds. So Chris is going to try to get this fixed.
Yeah,
but it's giving us some problems.
It's going to be an icky shuffle here.
It's part of our beta process. Yeah, not beta males. Not beta males.
Beta testing. So Falwell, Jerry Falwell, he says conservatives and Christians need to stop electing nice guys. Whoa, that's a good one, huh? They might make great Christian leaders, but the U.S. needs street fighters like real Donald Trump at every level of government because the liberal fascist Dems are playing for keeps, and many Republican leaders are a bunch of wimps. I mean, the way I grew up, who did you respect at school? Who did you respect on your coaches, on your sports teams?
Well, I grew up watching John Wayne. So
exactly, the tough people. And now you have these like limp-wristed Napoleons like Ben Sass in Nebraska. And this Jeff Flake, I don't even get it, man. This guy is like, something's going on in his head. He was one of the most firebrand conservatives for years back in the early 2000s. And he's just totally gone off the deep end. I mean, I don't know.
Chris, do you remember this? Chris, back in, was it 2009 or 10, we first launched Iowa Gun Owners. And it was the committee chairman, Clell Baudler. He was locking down on shall issue, locking down on constitutional carry, all of it. And well, at that time, I guess this would have been 2011 because he was the chairman at that time. And we were hitting the crap out of him, politically speaking. And they said that we're using Chicago-style politics and that we were thugs. Who would have thought that 7 years later, Jerry Falwell Jr. is saying we need more thugs in conservative politics? I guess yes.
Miracles happen.
I guess we were one of the early ones in that process. Of course, we're still here, and Clell Baudler has gone on to his undeserved retirement here in Iowa. So
yeah, you see these freaking like Dianne Feinstein. This is an 85-year-old woman. I mean, she flies around in a Learjet. She's got a $30 million house out in San Francisco. Her husband has wineries with like slave labor in Napa Valley. But she freaking fights with like machetes, man. This chick is so nasty. All of them are nasty. And maybe the Republicans were playing a little game during the Kavanaugh hearings, a little strategy game. But it's like these people, man, if we don't elect tough, nasty people, it's just going to get crapped on.
Well, Patrick, do you still have that tweet? I'm trying to find. I couldn't find it. The tweet from the woman who was screaming at Jeff Flake. I thought that kind of spoke.
The one where she was tough. Okay, that's going to be a tough one to find.
Yeah, where she was just like, you got to get mean, you got to get violent, you got to scream, you got to whatever.
Scare them.
You got to scare them. It was just militant.
There it was, folks.
Got it. We got it. Good.
Yeah.
It was just, it was an incredible tweet. It was incredible to read, and that's exactly what she was doing, just screaming at the top of her lungs. And being as aggressive as the left.
And I don't think any of us here are great historians. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. I don't know. But history just tells you this is what the left does: is they freak people out, they scare you, they ultimately go violent, and they scare people into the corner like they did Flake and like they've done to Sass. And if you don't step up, they're going to run over you. I mean, that's just history.
Read some of the comments here. Ranger K9. Yeah. I'm a Christian and I'm a fighter. I want to be very clear on that, Ranger. We also are Christians and we love to fight. So we're not by any means denigrating Christians. We're sick and tired of Christians that think that you can walk into the Capitol with a white paper,
or that you're supposed to be
a freaking Cory Booker style radical partisan to somehow magically like give up his sword and all of a sudden sing Kumbaya. Yeah. That's not how the game is played. So we totally agree with that. But one more great comment here. I'm trying to find, I just scrolled past it, but the inestimable Stuart Griffin said, if I can find a comment, he said, we got to pass a collection plate here to let Patrick get some better headsets.
Stuart, you don't like these?
Better headgear, he said.
There's not even an earbud in that one right there.
I think maybe Stuart.
Well, Kavanaugh, the great Ken Keller in Ohio said Kavanaugh just released a Wall Street Journal editorial. I'm an independent, impartial judge, is what he said. Yes, I was emotional last Thursday. I hope everyone can understand I was there as a son, husband, and dad. So, the courts. This is what the left has done. And Aaron was talking about it earlier this week. This was a play by Chuck Schumer. This was a political play to force this guy out, a man against a woman. And they thought they had him when he went really angry, but the guy was defending himself, but the left wanted to try to out him. Oh, he doesn't have a temperament for the court, but the court.
If he did not get pissed off right there, Trump himself would have pulled his nomination.
I agree with you. And I'm sure Trump knew it was going to happen.
Nobody wants to see a guy sit there and take a beating like that and not have the stones to stand up and fight back with everything he's got. Trump himself would have said, pull it.
I agree with you, but the left has politicized these courts and so unbelievably that they drew this out of him. He's unacceptable. He's crazy. He's too angry. That is what they drew. And then that's what they're trying to use to sink him now. Oh, he's not independent. Right. He's too political. They did this. Yeah. You've got Sass and Flake. The country's being torn apart. Well, the left is tearing the country apart, not the right.
Republicans are not. Yeah. Right. The right is not doing it.
Now, maybe we should. I don't know. Maybe the Republicans should fight when the Democrats come up. Because Lindsey Graham admitted I voted for Sotomayor and Kagan. That's the reason we sometimes hate him.
Yeah, and
I sat there and trash talked gun owners who said that they were not qualified because they were bad on guns. So I immediately remembered why I normally can't stand Lindsey Graham. But in that 30 seconds, God put him in that chair at that time to say those words, and he did his job. Yeah.
Well, so I'm reading from somebody right now. Eric Erickson, actually, I don't really like him, but he says if Murkowski wobbles and Flake, this Erickson texts with Bob Corker all the time in Tennessee. If Murkowski wobbles and Flake and Collins hold, Manchin, you asked about this earlier, Manchin sets himself up as the guy who saves Kavanaugh from a tie.
Exactly. And
ensures his reelection and access to a seat at the table of a GOP Senate next year, even as a Democrat.
A lot of these guys are reassuring themselves of a reelection because I think Chris was saying yesterday that Lindsey Graham's not going to get a primary he has to worry about. Not a credible one now. He's in, man. And that's if he even stays in the Senate chamber. He might get some great big promotion in Trump's White House. That's of course, lots of topic of conversation right now, but he's going to have a pretty easy time staving off an attack on the right now, even though he probably deserves it because he's a rock star. He's on Fox News and CNN. I mean, who saw him on CNN 2 days ago?
He's like, gonna get mad at me.
You got a problem with me trying to help make America great again with the president? I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit.
like, who is this guy? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, we got some people commenting on YouTube. David Elias says, I'm a new subscriber from St. Louis, Missouri. So thank you, David. Guys, subscribe on YouTube. The link is right here. Barbara Finley is laughing at Spartacus. Corey Booker, Spartacus. And Nicole Mall says, we need people to get things done, not sheep that follow. The Dems are using bully tactics.
That's literally why I'm thinking about getting in my car and going out there. What will it be like next week, Wednesday?
I don't know.
They're saying it might. I mean, they're going to start the debate on Saturday. They're saying,
right, but they need 30 hours of floor debate. So what would that be? Tuesday, earliest?
No, I mean, I've heard even Saturday. So in other words,
how do they burn down 30 hours though that fast?
If McConnell files cloture and leaves don't quote me on this, and leaves it open from 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. I mean, 24 hours is 10:30, and then another 6 is 4:30 Eastern. I mean, you could be tomorrow night. And then if Kavanaugh is confirmed, he's seated on the court Monday morning. Everybody's talking about it at church on Sunday. I mean, and it's over, and everybody's back out on the campaign trail. Jeez. But I don't know. I mean, there's some other news. Montana. Do we have anybody watching from Montana? We will one day. I don't know if we have somebody now, guys. But Senator Steve Daines, he's a reliable vote on this. But his daughter is getting married Saturday, so I understand that he's out in Montana Saturday. So if they vote on Saturday, it probably tells you that they do have the votes to get him done, and they could sacrifice one, which would be risky to me. But it could be pushed back into, Sunday and Monday, I guess. Chris, head out there, man. Go for it.
I'm really thinking about it. The problem is I've got Trump coming into Lebanon next week, and I've also got this going on. So one of these events I'm going to get to, but I just saw that there's somebody in the comment section who's bringing up Kavanaugh and the Fourth Amendment, and you have to think to yourself, a guy like Kavanaugh cannot go through a meat grinder like he has been for the last couple of weeks and not come out of it farther to the right. I mean, this is going to make him into an even better judge, or in my opinion, just kind of like Clarence Thomas. Went in kind of in the middle, and then they tried to drag him through the mud, and look what he became.
I mean, we definitely got some libertarians, and I think we're all some version of libertarian personally, but we have some folks that are certainly not pleased with Kavanaugh. But I think on that issue of Fourth Amendment, but at a certain point, maybe this makes us cheap and shallow, and I'm sure that our friends will let us know. But at a certain point, it just becomes a street fight, and who has the bigger fist? At a certain point, this becomes bigger than Brett Kavanaugh and bigger than what Brett Kavanaugh thinks. And I'm not saying that that's always a good thing, but it is the reality right now. This is very simple. It's force on force. Who can muster more power? And at a certain point, it's just, we're way past that point now, but people don't care. They don't care. They want this guy to crush Schumer, and that's it. That's it.
The same people, and I know them, and they know who they are. If they're watching, Kavanaugh wasn't my first choice. The same people who I'm seeing bitching and moaning and complaining right now were the same people who wanted Hillary Clinton to win and wanted Donald Trump to lose. And not that they supported Hillary, but they said, oh, Trump should lose, Trump should lose. Well, I mean, you'd be looking at a 6-3 court right now, a 6-3 court, and Second Amendment rights gone. Everything put up any issue, everything would be gone. Everything would absolutely be gone, guys. And so Aaron's right. This is more of a political battle. We're at that moment in history. This is a damn political battle. And if you lose this thing, you will watch a celebration in Washington, D.C. and a fired up left, and I think a depressed right, unlike anything you've ever seen. I mean, that's
I know. It's kind of like the what was his name? Roy. This is the Roy Moore effect. You know, they're gonna then that will be 2 for 2 that they know they can do this. Regardless of the credibility of the accusations, and they will do this to everybody at every level. I said that last week. If they're successful at this here, they're going to start implementing this model all the way down the line to our state legislatures all across America.
Well, don't get us wrong. I mean, people have been saying for decades, just go out and vote Team Red, vote Team Red, vote Team Red, regardless. I mean, I think we specialize in holding crappy legislators accountable for, bad votes and for being giant freaking losers.
Yeah.
But this is, in my opinion, a very different scenario than just, go out and vote for Team Red because, well, they're the lesser of two evils, or they're not quite as, they're better than the leftist Dems. I think it's a lot deeper than that with Kavanaugh, which I think is what you were saying.
And the fact of the matter is, Trump is beating the heck out of these people and making them the Republicans they should have been all along.
Yeah,
like Lindsey Graham. I mean, look at these guys. Look at these guys. They're running so far to the right. It's just he's grabbing them somewhere and just dragging them right over to the right, just like he said he would.
I mean, and let's not make any mistake either. All of us work in state capitals. I think between us this year, we probably are in 10 or 12. We're located in one state, but 10 or 12 capitals.
I've been in the Ohio State House.
Believe us, there are many, there are communist leftists, we know, and there are many sleazy Republicans who are everything you could possibly imagine that's happening down at the Capitol, hitting on interns, hitting on lobbyists, sleeping with lobbyists, cheating on your wives. It's happening left and right, okay? It is happening. Everything you believe is actually happening.
Yeah, they are the
forget
swamps
that. We're not defending any of
them.
But
right.
Does somebody have that picture of Jeff Flake when he was about to break into tears in the committee hearing the other day?
No, but I keep this one around. This loser.
Because that's what I was gonna say. Is that I think people might think that they're a bunch of spineless cowards in D.C., but to whatever extent they are, of course they are. It's 10 times as bad in your state capital.
Yeah, this is Iowa's Jeff Flake.
10 times as bad.
Here. Iowa's
These
Jeff
people
Flake.
are terrified.
Hey, Aaron,
there's no real grassroots spotlight, so we don't even know. The average person doesn't know about it as much as you hear about these DC guys. But these ones in capitals, what happened to Flake? We were all watching it here. They call it an ante room right next to the Judiciary Committee hearing room the other day on Friday. They had him surrounded. All the Dems had him surrounded, guys. Feinstein, Durbin, Schumer was probably back there. Nasty people. In the state capitals, imagine these low-level state reps. They freaking surround them. They surround them. You are not going to win re-election. You don't do this. We're not going to give you any money. We're going to run somebody against you. I mean, and they just wilt. Most of them wilt.
Oh, yeah.
And they tell themselves that if we wilt, then we'll be reasonable, and the media is going to like us, and then we can be more electable come re-election time. But there's this new article on secondamendmentdaily.com right now talking about Tony Evers out of Wisconsin. I mean, Scott Walker obviously believes in this line of crap that if we kind of moderate and we're kind of nice guys, that we're not going to make people that upset. And Tony Evers has beaten him. Let's see, was it 4 polls in a row? Show him up by 4 points or more.
Yep.
And Evers is out now. This article is on secondamendmentdaily.com. Make sure and get there and check it out. But he's on the record wanting a complete registry of every firearm owner in Wisconsin. And he didn't specify future sales. I think it's very clear he wants to register every gun or gun owner in the state. And and Walker is collapsing because he's taken this attitude, the way it seems that if we play nice, that we're going to win. And he played nice, which meant he tanked constitutional carry last year, and he's about to lose. And then you see guys like Evers, when they get a chance to take over, they don't talk about anything halfway. He's very direct. We're going to register all gun owners, period. Number one, we're going to have universal background checks. We're going to ban the AR-15. And that's all for starters. And so these guys, the left doesn't play by these rules at all. And you have to have some degree of respect just from a not from a policy standpoint, of course, but from just a reality standpoint that this is they play for keeps. They play for keeps.
Aaron, why don't you get into the two big gun issues? So everybody's focused on Kavanaugh in D.C., but most of the stuff happens at the state level, guys. You want to talk about California and Oregon? You want to talk about those issues, or
I can definitely talk about Oregon for a minute. Before I do that, I want to give a shout out to a guy in the comment section right now watching out of Wyoming. Love to see people out there. We've got Wayne watching right now from Wayne. I was out there last week, or I guess it was 10 days ago, with my family. Went on the big Yellowstone trip and drove all the way up, over, and down through Wyoming. So love getting out there. It was fun being there with my family versus being in the Capitol surrounded by a bunch of jackbutts. Yeah.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Ryan, who's watching from Byron, Minnesota. You know, you're hardcore for the Second Amendment when you're watching the Second Amendment Daily Show when Donald Trump is right here in our.
That's right.
Don't say that on
Rock
here.
out.
Don't
Love it.
Say that on here. We're gonna lose the people that are here.
Yeah. Never mind. Donald Trump is not talking anywhere.
Yeah, that's fake news.
Yeah, that's recorded.
No, I think the story out of Oregon is just it's the next step in red flags. I mean, well, not the next step, it's just the next state that has enacted red flag gun seizures, and they've already announced they've taken the first 47 gun owners' firearms away from them. I mean, we got, as of I think it was in June or July, in Florida, 500 or 450 people lost their guns in Florida. And, I was reading the story out of Oregon. I didn't see in black and white how many people actually were charged with crimes. Like that's the thing here.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
they're having their guns taken away. In case you're not sure what we're referring to, red flags or extreme risk protection orders. This is the new rage for the gun rights, the gun control crowd, rather, and a bunch of weak-kneed, quote unquote, pro-gun people. But yeah, I mean, almost anybody can call into a judge or go for a judge and say that, you're a dangerous person and that you believe you might harm yourself or somebody else, and ask the judge to issue an order to seize your firearms. And they're doing it crazy fast in Florida. It's happening now in Oregon. And they're going to come and take your guns before you've been arrested, convicted, indicted for anything. You're not going to know it's going to happen. It's an ex parte hearing. You're not in the room. The first time you hear about it is when the knock, 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 or the battering ram hits the front door of your house, and they come inside and they confiscate every single one of your firearms. And so obviously some people shouldn't have guns. No disagreement there. We all know that. But of these 450 in Florida, for example, the media highlighted 2 of them were murder suspects. Well, no kidding then. Obviously, in that case, that's not a red flag issue. That's a murder issue. No kidding. Take the guns away. But how about the rest of them? 450 people, two homicide suspects. What's the deal? Is anybody getting charged?
Yeah, but even with those, it's like, okay, 2 murder suspects. Okay, so you take the guns away from them. Like, they're going to tell the truth about where their guns are or how many they've got. Well,
that's the whole point. It's stupid. They're going to grab those guns as part of the investigation anyway. You don't need red flags to do anything about that.
Right.
At all. So, see, Wayne says that my AR is my second favorite gun. Wayne from Wyoming. Wayne, just so you know, outgoing Governor Matt Mead, who I had the great pleasure of confronting in the Capitol in March and asking him why he was being a chicken shit and didn't want to sign stand your ground law into law. But, his staff was working overtime all last session trying to resurrect red flags, even last session yet. And the rumor is it's going to be coming up next session. We're going to fight. I'll be out there personally with our great, awesome gun rights leader out there, Senator Anthony Bouchard, and we're going to go 10 rounds with anybody who advances that bill. But be watching for that, Wayne. But yeah, so now it's in Oregon. 47 people lost their guns, and it's going to continue in these states that allow red flags to pass. I know it's on the agenda, certainly in Ohio. It's on the agenda for Iowa. It's on the agenda in Minnesota, Wisconsin, being talked about in Missouri. Bill draft already introduced in Missouri. This is the next iteration of the gun control fight. Certainly, red flag gun seizers.
This is why,
remember that: no arrest, no indictment, no conviction. Don't forget those points.
And this is why I get so mad at the losers who are supposed to be fighting for gun rights down in Florida, and you know who you are, and the organizations that are supposed to be fighting against gun control down there. Because look what happens. They build off of each and every one of these things, and then they steamroll right to the next state. So in Florida, they bumped the age up from 18 up to 21 years old to buy these long guns. Looking at this thing out in California, California already has, I think, the worst gun laws in America. But then they saw what Florida did, and they thought, oh, well, that's another thing we can do. Let's bump it up from 18 to 21 years of age. And that's why when they started pushing hard for this red flag stuff here in Ohio, we immediately got to work trying to beat the crap out of this thing, because far be it from us to take the blame for being the next Republican state to pass this gun control, because we know how much the rest of the states across the country are depending on us.
Just in case people aren't picking up what we're putting down here, these are all Republicans pushing this crap. In Minnesota, it's Senator Lyon Scott Jensen and Paul Anderson and a whole host of other pro-gun Republican legislators in Minnesota are the ones pushing this crap. And now they're all going to be running around telling everybody, because the House is up for re-election, Senate is not. And everybody's saying how pro-gun they are. And these are the very same people sponsoring, co-sponsoring, and holding hearings on all of this gun control. It's insane.
Well, yeah, you mentioned California. I mean, yeah, they raised it to 21 now.
What else do they do out there?
There's another article on secondamendmentdaily.com talks about Jerry Brown's message to young Americans, pound sand. But in that article, we pointed out the fact that just within a 10 seconds on Google, 4 cases where somebody under the age of 21 used a long gun to stop or to prevent a violent criminal attack. These are home invasions usually. February of this year, a 17-year-old kid in North Carolina shot and killed an armed suspect who had broken into his parents' house. Last year, a 19-year-old used a gun to shoot and kill 3 for 3. That's good shooting. People who broke into his apartment and he killed them. A young college kid in Rochester, New York, used an AR-15 to shoot to train his gun on 2 home invasion suspects who left. And a 15-year-old in Texas 2 years ago stopped a home invasion in progress, shooting one of the suspects and saving his 12-year-old kid's sister in the process. So, if these guys have their way, these people are all helpless and defenseless. And that's the thing that gets to me sometimes, is that it's easy to kind of get so involved in the politics and want to crush the radical anti-gun left. You could forget at a certain point that real people really live and really die based on their access to firearms. And this is not just some static, philosophical argument we're having. This is life and death to a lot of people. And taking away guns like they're doing in all these states, all it's going to do is leave to more people being victimized. So,
and we have the candidate down here. Some of y'all have heard about her. You've probably seen her on the internet, but just the other day, we obtained an exclusive video of her saying that gun owners were bigots who wanted to stand their ground. I mean, this is in years past, especially in a state like Georgia, you didn't hear stuff like that, wow. But we're hearing this stuff all over the country. In other words, someone attacks you now, you can stand your ground. If you cannot, you would have to run the other direction. That's not what my daddy taught me on the playground. If somebody hit me, I'm going to hit them back. Okay. You don't run away, but that is where they're taking this gun debate, guys. And
David Elias is saying that Claire is gone in November in Missouri. I presume you're down there. David, I presume you've seen the ad, the MOFC Missouri Firearms Coalition is running right now. But it's going to be a big fight. I mean, a poll I saw today shows it plus or minus a half a point. I mean, this is like one of the closest races in America right now. Tens of millions of outside dollars being spent to send a message. The only problem about this is just, I hope that Claire goes away. But
yeah,
I mean, what's his name? I lost your name here. David Elias. What do you think about Josh Hawley? Because man, that guy, I don't know. Wants to ban bump stocks. He was in favor of Dianne Feinstein's fixed NICS bill. he sounds like the kind of guys that we have right now in DC who just don't want to fight. He wants to ride a wave, but I don't know. I guess we're gonna wait.
Wayne Backus from Wyoming says, "Love being a bigot." He says,
"Yeah, it's like a Hillary Clinton deplorable moment, you know. Fine, if we're all gonna go there."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, people see the left gets up there and gets on their freaking, gets on their high horse and their podium and starts shouting about it. Women need to be believed, and conservatives hate everything about women, and we're all bigots and racists and stuff. And at the end of the day, they've destroyed all of those issues. If everybody's a racist, nobody's a racist. If everybody's a bigot,
right,
nobody's a bigot. And now, when I was growing up, rape used to have certain connotations. Now, if you pinch some girl in school when you're 14 years old, now with the left,
35 years later, it will be used against you.
You can mentally. Didn't the leftist, she posted on Twitter the other day, we saw that, she said that I've been electronically raped by President Trump because I got that emergency alert on my phone, and I didn't ask for it. So now Trump is raping me through my phone. They've destroyed all of these issues. And so real people who have to face, these real major problems, the left is destroying these things while accusing all of us.
The other one, Ben, that I've heard just to add the cherry on top is he raped me with his eyes. He looked at me too closely. So now when I go into Kroger, I'm like,
oh yeah,
I'm like looking at the floor. I'm looking for pennies on the floor as I walk in.
Put a pair of
I'm Dutch. I'm doing that anyway.
Kent Keller here says that his wife, Representative Keller, is called a bigot every day in the Capitol in Ohio by hacks.
Actually, there's some truth to that. I've been around her before, and she's heavily bigoted against tyranny. She's a bigoted against gun control. She's my kind of bigot. So yeah, I'd say
Edward Smith is on Second Amendment Daily's Facebook page, and he says the Second Amendment is written in stone. Those who would try and take away our rights to own firearms will become criminals. Wanted criminals. That's what. Yeah, we all know that's always going to lead to tyranny, and it always leads to criminal action. I mean, that's just how this always works. And you're 100% right, man. There was a story yesterday. I think I didn't get it. I didn't have time to print off our self-defense story of the week. I can do it from memory, but we'll call that the section right now. But it was in the name of the town. Right, it was in California. I forget the name of the town. Carmelo, California. And you talk about enhancing or making criminals more criminal. This two-time felon with convictions in Maryland and Virginia stole a firearm in Prince Williams County in Virginia in a home invasion, and he had it in California. He kidnapped a woman and he raped her in his apartment in California, and she was able.
For real?
Huh?
He really? It was a real.
Yeah, not with his eyes. Not with his eyes. And she was able, thank God, when he was distracted, she grabbed the same gun he was using, to subdue her, and she shot him with it. She shot him with it right in the chest. Unfortunately, it was not a lethal shot. He did run away, though, immediately, and called for 911 because he was obviously about to bleed out on the floor. So she stopped the attack because she had a gun. She had his gun in this case. But, and of course, the gun was stolen. The gun was already stolen. So, no background check would have saved her. No gun-free zone law, would have saved her. No ban on magazines would have saved her. What saved her, or at least what stopped any further attack in her case, was a gunshot to the chest. More power to her. And we love seeing that. So, I think on one of our future podcasts, we're going to discuss, we've been compiling in the background here a top 20 list, if you will. Or the worst 20 list is probably a better word.
Worst 20.
The top 20 mass shootings in America in the last 10 years, all of which occurred in gun-free zones. And again, you kind of can forget sometimes the real life impact of gun politics, but we tracked over 300 dead people and 640 plus wounded people, all shot in gun-free zones where they can't do a damn thing. Can't do a darn thing.
And
that's where they want to take us, they as in the left, not just gun-free zones, but red flag gun seizures and AR bans and high cap magazine bans. Of course, we don't even agree with that terminology. And that's the future. That's the future for us if these people win. And that's why, I get sick and tired of these people who are sitting here wanting all of us to adopt these, holier than thou tactics. This is a fight. Yeah. And you don't fight, with your hands, perfectly clean all the time. And you dang sure don't fight without having at least half the state capitol hate your guts, and most of the weak-kneed friends as well, because they have to be drug along.
People who say that stuff are the ones who ran away on the playground.
Weak need. This is one of our weak need legislators right here. Some people are wondering what's that picture on the back of the wall. That's Representative Kyle Kaler. He's just one of those. He's like the Ohio version of this guy right here. Just weak need. They contribute to the problem rather than help solve it, and they're no fighters. I just saw a comment by somebody a little bit ago, Aaron. I thought you should probably address. Somebody was asking about your girl, Kim Reynolds, and said that he got a mailer or something from her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is going to be on our podcast for tomorrow for Iowa gun owners, but we've all seen these ads, right? The politician who like Mitt Romney came into Iowa and they try to find this like old pair of jeans to put him in when he ran against Obama, and he's on the Iowa State Fair in these old jeans. And everybody's like, dude, you look like an idiot. And well, Kim Reynolds has a slick out there right now. She I guess just got published over the weekend. And she has about the most ill-fitting pair of blaze orange on you've ever seen. And she's holding this shotgun. She clearly has no idea what she's doing, but supposedly she's out pheasant hunting, at some previous time. And it's all about how she supports, the Second Amendment because she is a pheasant hunter. So, but yeah, gun people are already on the IGO page mocking this because he hasn't signed the IGO candidate survey. And, everybody can walk out there and hold a shotgun in their hands. Joe Biden does it. Joe Biden loves shotguns. So people are just stupid.
Double barrel. Make sure it's a double barrel.
Yeah, fire it into the air.
I think hers was a side by side. And it's just, everybody knows what this is, Kim. Everybody knows what this is. This is a desperate attempt to lock up, 2% more. And, the damnest thing is that she could have had 2% more minimum, because Iowa gun owners could have and would have told the entire state that she supports the Second Amendment, but we just don't know if she does. I mean, she won't survey. She's talking about expanding background checks, and she says she likes Iowa's gun laws as they are when it comes to concealed carry. So that's a heck no on constitutional carry. So
I still think old Trump's going to come running out to Des Moines or wherever he's going.
Well, he's going to be in Iowa on October 9 over in Council Bluffs. Yeah. And like Chris was saying to me this morning, I mean, it's Western Iowa that Kim has to extrapolate these additional votes because that's her territory is Western Iowa. So she's going to have to try. But I mean, those Western Iowa votes are pretty much all hers anyway. So Trump's going to try to save her, and maybe he will. Maybe he will. But
well, you're talking about she won't fill out the survey. I just want to talk about Minnesota for a minute here. I mean, folks, if they won't fill out the survey, like in Minnesota, the Speaker of the House, who's an anti-gun nut, he pretends to be big, but he's really kind of a lightweight. Maybe not that much of a lightweight, but pretty much a lightweight. And he's telling all the candidates in Minnesota, don't fill out the Minnesota gun rights candidate survey, right? This guy is pushing gun control. He's best friends with all the lefties. He's a Republican, but he's telling all the Republican candidates, don't fill out the Minnesota gun rights candidate survey. And so we got a handful of surveys back. And so this is the message for gun owners. If they won't fill out the hard-hitting surveys, not the garbage surveys from the garbage organizations like Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, but if they won't fill out the survey, how on earth are we supposed to know what they're willing to do for gun owners when they get into office? Because they usually they don't want to put their name on paper. They don't want to sign their signature. They don't want to answer questions so that they can sit there and beat around the bush and say, well, I never promised this. I never promised that. I don't have to follow through on this. I don't have to follow through on that. So just keep that in mind coming into November, because there's a whole lot of so-called pro-gun people running for the Minnesota House who refuse to fill out our survey, who are good friends with the speaker, and who will not do anything for gun owners if they make it to St. Paul. It just won't happen. It just won't happen.
I got to answer a question here for Brent Carlson. He says, what about Jake Porter in Iowa? You know, Brent, it's kind of one of those deals that we understand why everybody likes libertarian third-party option when this kind of frustration. We totally get the frustration. The thing is, though, is that we have to deal with the reality of where we are as an issue organization. Our job is to advance gun rights and expose those who stand in the way of that. And we could spend every penny we have in our coffers, every penny of our donor dollars to try to advance a third-party candidate. And he's never, or she is never going to get more than, you know, maybe 4 or 5% of the vote. Maybe if you're super, super awesome candidate here in Iowa. So I'm not saying Jake Porter's bad on guns, quite the contrary, but it's just that as an organization, we would sooner see some of these guys run for state house or state senate, get elected, you know, and actually kind of earn their spurs a little bit and kind of prove like themselves at that level. Because honestly, it's hotter in the Iowa House than it is in the governor's mansion in some capacities, because you've got, you know, a 50+ member caucus always screaming at you. And so if you can hack it there, you can hack it as the governor. So, you know, we want to see some of these guys earn their spurs, you might say, before they come to us and get mad at us because we're not funding their campaigns. It's just kind of it's a bit of a pipe dream process right now. And our donors are just not willing to have the money spent on advancing a third-party candidate when it comes to trying to advance gun rights. Patrick, is that guy for real?
Which guy?
Yeah, Hayden Chandler advance our gun rights at the cost of innocent lives.
He's anti stand your ground law. I've been commenting back at him.
Is he in the comments, Big Hayden?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He also just said, "Go Stacey Abrams." He says.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Yeah. Socialist.
What's up, Hayden? Big socialist Stacey. Go out and blow on your horn there, buddy. Get out on the band or whatever you're doing there. And look, guys, bye-bye. I was out in front of Socialist's office today. I had a whole audience watching me, not just her people, but other people behind. How does it not make sense? If someone attacks you, Hayden, if someone were to attack you, buddy, if someone were to attack you, and under the law, you would have to run the other way. Duty to retreat instead of defending yourself. It makes zero sense whatsoever.
This Yahoo knows.
Believe whatever you want to believe, but if you want to give up your right to defend yourself, then you got bigger problems, man. I mean, you know, the government, the Supreme Court has ruled the government or the police have no constitutional right to be protected by the police. They've already ruled that. Multiple courts have ruled that. So
just buzz off,
believe what
dude.
you want to believe. But if you want to get rid of stand your ground, we're just on the opposite side of the issue. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, go watch a different feed right now. Go watch President Trump.
Hayden says he supports the second, but he's against stand your ground.
Well, you're talking to the wrong crowd, bro, because we passed the stand your ground law in Missouri with the Missouri Firearms Coalition in 2016. We passed the stand your ground law in Iowa in 2017, and we passed the stand your ground law in Cheyenne, Wyoming this year.
The only 3 states to do it since the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman trial. Okay, they originated.
If you hate stand your ground. There's literally not 4 people you should hate more in America right now than the 4 of us, because we have got it done in 3 states in 3 years, and we hope to add to that number.
There's more to come
as time goes on. Time goes on. So anyway,
wow, that was like we just ran right up to a brick wall and then stopped.
Yeah, you know what? 2 whole seconds of silence ain't the worst thing in the world. So.
What else were we going to talk about tonight, guys?
You know, I hate to say it, but for your sake, but the Braves are in the playoffs and they're on right now. So it's probably a good time for us to wrap this up, or me to go home. I could always leave and you guys could talk bad about the Braves, but I got my Braves hat on up here.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. Does anybody know if President Trump is still talking?
He's leaving now. He's leaving now.
I missed the entire rally in Rochester.
That's all right.
It's pathetic.
Shame.
my only question is, was his detail? Do they have their guns out because they're in Rochester, Minnesota, or they still keep them holstered? Because if you're watching this from someplace besides the Midwest, then you might not know what what did he call those third world countries?
Shithole.
You might not know the truth about Rochester, Minnesota.
It's not exactly a vacation destination of what would you call it? Terrorist activity. That's one of those big recruiting stations where they've been and the FBI has been tracking this. They've been recruiting terrorists from this area, shipping them overseas, radicalizing them, and turning them into good little jihadis. So
yeah, this is where the whole bigot thing comes from, because we're just not fans of being chased down the street with tomahawks and hatchets,
machetes.
Machetes happens all the time. Rochester, St. Cloud, and vast portions of Minneapolis,
right there in your own backyard.
So these people hack you to pieces, or they shoot you, and then the leftists in the Minnesota legislature all hop up there and say, you know what? It's all you crazy psycho 50-year-old, blaze orange wearing hunters out there. All you people are responsible for the crime in this state. We need red flags, gun seizures. We need universal gun registration. And the whole state sitting here going, what the what?
And
we all know what's happening.
And then the Republicans in the legislature appropriate hundreds of millions of dollars to go to the Somali daycares, and they package that up into suitcases, go through the Minneapolis airport, and haul these millions of dollars in state cash.
This is a true story.
Over to these terrorist countries.
Dollars in taxpayer cash appropriated to them by the Republican legislature. Hundreds of millions of dollars
laundering it
stuffed
through
into
Somali
suitcases
daycares.
And run right through the Minneapolis St. Paul airport, off to Yemen, off to Somalia. It's funding ISIS with our taxpayer dollars.
Hey guys, make sure you go to our YouTube channel right now. There's links in all the Facebook feeds you could be watching it in, and get there and subscribe there. We're trying to grow as fast as we possibly can. It's better audio, better video, less cramping down of the feed over there from Facebook, handlers. So get there and watch that. I know we're going to be talking about self-defense stories next week. We're discussing, I think, this great big report we've compiled on background checks and gun-free zones. What a complete abysmal failure they've been in trying to keep people safe. A lot more to come in the Kavanaugh hearing, but we're getting about ready to wind this up here tonight, guys. Is that where we are for the night?
Yeah, I think so.
Looking a little further ahead, I know Kent Keller Sr. Was on here a little while ago. His wife is one of the state legislators here in Ohio, but we actually have legislative session kicking off in like less than 40 days here in Ohio. And
wow.
So, very soon here, all these states are going to start rolling over to their new general assemblies. We're going to have all kinds of updates about that kind of stuff, but crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly.
Wayne Beck says gangsters wear blaze orange.
Only if you're a pheasant.
All right. Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
We're going to sign off here, although I'm seeing a bunch of Minnesotans are hopping in the comments section now. So Donald Trump has walked off the stage, and now Minnesota is rolling into the house. So go back, rewatch it, and we'll catch you back here next Thursday.
Go to Second Amendment Daily on Facebook if you haven't liked us. In a matter of a month, we haven't spent a dime, but in a matter of a month, we've gone from about 50 likes to over 800 or so, 850. So we're gonna put it on steroids here soon, guys, and really pump it up.
Yep,
so,
we had I think 16,000 or 17,000 video views. This thing's growing pretty good. So thank you guys who are all tuning in and sharing this stuff on your own Facebook pages.
Love it.
We love it, and we'll be back here again next week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. You guys can figure it out from there. But until then, carry every day, carry everywhere, stay safe, and we'll be back with more next time.
See you, everybody.
Later. Bye-bye.